According to the wisdom of Kabbalah, there is no such thing as death, because as we said, there's this one soul which is always regaining consciousness of itself. But since each one is locked in this individual perception, which is removed from that true perception of reality, so we perceive that there's this point when, these five senses I was born in are born, and then they die at a certain point. All this we just have to understand within that bigger picture, that there's this desire that's growing, and that desire and this reality and this soul that we're all parts of is much, much, much greater than even the biggest kind of perception of myself and the world that I can even attain. Meaning my perception is limited by what makes me feel good at every single moment. I am made of this matter called the desire to receive pleasure, which constantly wants to absorb pleasure into itself, into some kind of empty space within me. And the more we develop, the more this desire grows. And that's why in the beginning, in the very first cave people in the world, they only had desires for food, sex, and family. They were content with just going out all day just to hunt and gather their food and bring it back and eat it. And that's pretty much how they lived. And then, the more we develop over time, the more that desire grows, and we develop, civilizations with all kinds of systems and, money, honor, control, knowledge, all these things come out. The more this, as a result of what? Simply as a result of this desire expanding and expanding and expanding. Our era is characterized by this desire's expansion reaching a certain limit, meaning the corporeal desires reach a certain limit. And at that limit emerges the seed of the soul, which is the point in the heart, this new desire, which starts feeling an attraction to something unknown beyond all these corporeal desires that have fulfilled us up until today. And that is all in order for us to start moving toward a state where we can perceive that full extent of the soul, everything that there is to attain in our lives, that full perception and sensation of the soul of Adam HaRishon, all of us interconnected, interdependent as one complete system, which where we perceive, instead of all kinds of other people and other things and nature that we're trying to absorb from and receive from at every single moment, which currently defines our whole modus operandi in this world. Instead of that, we'll move into a perception where we perceive all these connections between us. We perceive this space between us filled with a certain energy and force that we can attain, that we can work with, and that we can invite into our lives more and more and more. And when we move into that and attain it, so that the more we do, the more we attain that, as we said, that spiritual state of Adam HaRishon. And then when we attain the full perception and sensation of it, then there's no need for us to keep coming back into these bodies that we know in this world, and we enter a new state, what's called the attainment of our soul.